Have you ever had this experience in your kickflip? You flick your front foot as hard as possible, but it sticks to your front foot and couldn't flip. When deep inside, you know you can flip your board with your finger. So the flick strength does not seem to be the direct reason your board is not flipping fast enough. As a matter of fact, a human leg is known to be roughly 3 times as strong as an arm. So how many times is it stronger than a finger? I don't know, but it must be quite a lot. So if you can't flip your board with your foot, you could be missing something. Let's break down the science behind the sticking problem this time. And you're watching Why the Trick. To start off, let's review the kickflip's mechanics first. Every object in this world, including a skateboard, has 3 spinning axes. Let's say the longest one is the x-axis. The one that connects the toe side and the heel side is the y-axis. And the other is the z-axis. If you try to flip your board most efficiently according to the mechanics, the force of your flick should be perpendicular to the x-axis. In a kickflip, you generate such a force by flicking your board's nose, or somewhere around the beginning of it. As you take a closer look, you can see your toe draws an arc and applies a vertical force on your board so that it flips most efficiently. Now this is the most tricky and counterintuitive part, isn't it? You can apply a vertical force on the x-axis by flicking forward. The sticking problem may happen when the force goes parallel to the x-axis. This changes the most dominant spinning axis from the x-axis to the y-axis, and uses your flick's energy to rotate your board forward. As a result, it weakens the spinning force of your kickflip, and makes it feel like your board sticks to your front foot. Further, you might catch your board upside down mid-air as the tail rises unnecessarily higher by turning around the y-axis. So does that mean you should flick down? As many people say, you should not. Think about it this way. By flicking down, you may be able to generate a perpendicular force to the ground, not to your board. In that sense, flicking down does not effectively flip your board after all. Now that we know the importance of the spinning axis, let's see when the force of the flick gets closer to parallel to the x-axis. 2 common mistakes may cause this problem. Number 1. When you lift your body too high. If you do so without tucking up your front knee, your front foot won't be able to draw the arc. It tends to go horizontally straight instead, making it virtually impossible to exert a vertical force on your board. When I try to avoid jumping up unnecessarily high so that I can tuck up my knee more efficiently. If you want though, you can jump up as high as you want. Just make sure to tuck up your knee close enough to your chest. And number 2, when you flick too far. This commonly happens because you can see where to flick right in front of you. But if you do this, you won't be able to generate enough vertical energy around the x-axis due to the same reason I mentioned earlier. You'll wind up lowering the nose instead, as your board turns around the y-axis. To get used to the sense of the flick, try practicing flicking while stepping off your board before trying to land it with both feet. This step is essential to acquire a sense of a good flick. Without trying to land with both feet from the beginning, you can easily tell if you're flicking too far or if your body is too high. On the contrary, if you try to land with both feet when you just want to acquire the feeling of a good flick, you must use your whole body, which consumes a lot of energy. And because you can't flick effectively, you land primo or upside down, which increases your fear. Then, your mind makes you want to jump up higher so that you can stay away from your board. The more you try, the stiffer your body becomes due to fear and fatigue, and the trick becomes harder. So I highly recommend practicing flicking while stepping off your board. Doing this allows you to get used to the feeling of a good flick without the risk of falling. To do that, place your feet in a kickflip position and try the following steps. Just for your reference, I put my front foot slightly over the front bolt and my back foot on a bit outside of the tail. Step number 1. Crouch down and start lifting your body. Make sure to avoid letting your body go up too high. Remember, allowing it to get higher than that makes it harder to draw the arc. Also, as part of step number 2, pay attention to the weight distribution. I usually have my weight over my front foot by the time I flick. Leaning too far back widens the distance between your flicking foot and your body's center of mass, making your flick parallel to the x-axis. And finally, step number 3, flick your front foot. Keep your flick quick and compact. Remember, you can flip your board with your finger. As long as you give the x-axis a vertical force, you don't need to flick so hard after all. Flicking unnecessarily strongly makes you lose your balance and may spin your board horizontally. Hi everyone, thank you for watching Why the Trick. As I said in this video, the key is objectivity. And I think everyone should be able to analyze their motion objectively somehow. But making 3D models as I do usually takes up to 2 weeks to make one. Imagine if you could convert your motion digitally and easily. Not only would you be able to use the information for your personal growth, but you'd also be able to create a collective knowledge base that you can share and compare your movement with others. In other words, we need a platform that can bind our individual commitments together to help us improve our personal skills and to accelerate the evolution of the entire human race. To make that happen, I present you whythetrick's AI-based automatic motion converter. Simply select or drop a file, and the system automatically converts your video into a 3D animation. You can browse your model on a web browser, change its angles, play speed, display grid lines, etc. etc. The system's still in the development stage and might contain errors, and it might not be 100% accurate either, but hopefully this helps you learn something new. That said, I need support from every one of you. I need live data in order to improve the system, as well as qualitative feedback. Please try using the system and let me hear what you think. And that's all for this episode. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time. It's just so cold in here.